Scottish football is back after the international break. Hopefully, we have no dodgy VAR decisions over this weekend, but we do have some VAR decisions to talk about as Gordon Duncan and Willie Collum once again hosted the first VAR show of the brand new season. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. So there's going to be 7 incidents that we're going to look at. They looked at 7 incidents. Majority of them were handball, but there was also couple of penalties in there and a red card as well. So going to break it down into just different categories here. We've got 3 categories: the on-field decision, the VAR decision, and then of course Willie Collum has given his own decision on the matter. Not all the matchups, so that's pretty interesting here. Willie Collum agreeing with some of the decisions, disagreeing with some of the decisions. Then we had some of the decisions that were called on field that were overturned, and then we had some that were called on field and not overturned. So I also give my thoughts on all 7 of these decisions as well. But we'll start with the handballs. We've got the Hibs last minute handball from the corner against St Mirren. It was like literally last kick of the game. Referee blew the whistle. You'd seen the St Mirren player turning his body in mid-air. His arms were outstretched. I remember seeing this at the time and I thought that should have been a clear penalty to Hibs. It wasn't given though. On field it wasn't given. Then VAR checked it and they held the game up for like about a minute and a half and they still decided that they weren't going to give it. So that was it. Game finished. I believe it was 1-1. Hibs had to settle for a draw. But in my opinion, they should have had a penalty to try and win the game. And Willie Collum also said that Hibs should have had a penalty. He disagreed with the on-field decision. The reason for the on-field decision was that it hit his chest first. Well, they gave close proximity, and then they said that it hit his chest and then deflected onto his arms. But I believe that, and Willie Collum also said that his arms were still in a position that he was making his body bigger. I don't think it was necessarily a natural position. You look at where his arms are, it hits his chest first, but I still feel like if it doesn't hit his chest first, if you take away his chest, it would have probably hit his arms anyway. So it hit his chest and then hit his arm. I think it would have hit his arm even if it didn't hit his chest. So therefore, he blocked it. The shot was on goal. It's a clear goal scoring opportunity. I think that this is a penalty. And so did Willie Collum. So on field, referee said no. VAR said no. But Willie Collum said it was a penalty. And I agree with Willie Collum. Right. Next we have the Rangers handball against Alloa in the League Cup. I remember at the time thinking this wasn't a penalty due to the close proximity rule, and I mean there was literally nothing between the hand and the arm of the Alloa player and the ball being struck. I mean, in terms of distance, we're talking less than a foot. I mean, we're probably talking like half a foot, maybe, I don't know, 6 inches, something like that. So really, the guy had no time to react. On field, they said it wasn't a penalty. Then VAR looked at it. VAR says it was a penalty, so they changed the on-field decision. Willie Collum though said it wasn't, and Willie Collum says that incidents like this they're trying to not give penalties for. He said a couple of years ago penalties were pretty much given for this all the time, and now they're trying their best to not give penalties for basically handballs that are they can't be avoided. He says that when you're trying to block this shot, that is the natural position that your arm and body would be in. I agree with that. I think it was harsh to give a penalty here to Rangers. I remember seeing it. They're going to say goal scoring opportunity. I don't even think the shot was going on target, but due to the close proximity and the fact that the guy's hand was down by his side, it wasn't. If you look at the Hibs one previously, the St Mirren player's got his arms up around his chest head area. I mean, this guy had his hand at like a waist area where you would expect it to be. So for me, I agree with Willie Collum. This should not have been a penalty, and yeah, this kind of changed the game. It gave Rangers a 2-goal lead, so a pretty big decision. But he says it should not have been a penalty. I agree with him. So VAR getting this one wrong. Originally, referee did not give it. Willie Collum says it wasn't a penalty. I don't think it was a penalty, but VAR decided that it was, so he said they got this one wrong. Right, Livy versus Falkirk up next. We had the shot at goal. I think this one is quite clearly a penalty. I just think there's enough distance between the ball being struck and the defender handballing it, and again his hands are up around his chest area, his face area. and he also turns his body. He turns his body towards the ball, so he's making his body smaller while keeping his hands and arms stuck out there to almost like block the shot. Almost looked like a damn goalkeeper doing this. On-field decision said no penalty. VAR said it was a penalty. Willie Collum says it was a penalty, and I agree that it was a penalty. So, yeah, I agree that one was a penalty. Right, the Callum McGregor goal against St Mirren. On field, they gave no handball. They gave the goal. VAR, though, said that there was a handball. Willie Collum says that there was a handball, and I think that there was a handball. So we all agree, VAR, Willie Collum, and myself, thinking that this should not have been a penalty. Willie Collum did explain that had this happened in the middle of the pitch, that it would have been play on and there would have been no foul. But because it was a handball and it touched his arm and it led directly to the goal, then therefore it had to be ruled out. So he accepted that his arm, obviously his arm, elbow in a natural position, but you can't have a handball like this directly lead to a goal, and that's the reason it was ruled out. So had this happened in the middle of the pitch and Callum McGregor then plays a pass off to someone, then it would have been fine. But because this directly led to Callum McGregor shooting and scoring a goal, then it had to be given as a handball. So, I mean, I agree with that. Right, then we move into the pen decision. So first up, we've got the Gazzama penalty versus Dundee. On field said yes, they gave the penalty. VAR said yes. Then Willie Collum said yes, but it's subjective. Now, originally I didn't think this should be a penalty, and we got Gordon Duncan. He did point out that what argument would you make to people saying that Gazzama was holding the Dundee player and that Gazzama actually kicks his leg back and Gazzama is the one that makes the contact? Willie Collum addressed this and he says he can see that point and it's a subjective call, and that you can certainly make the case that Gazzama was holding and that Gazzama did initiate the contact. However, the job of the defender, being behind the defender, is to make sure that you don't make contact with the attacker in front. Willie Collum then went on to say that if this goes to VAR, it's going to be given as a penalty. However, he also said that if the referee originally did not give the penalty, then VAR would not get involved to overturn it. So therefore, it's subjective. And this made no sense to me. So if the ref gives it, VAR is going to agree it's a penalty. But he said if the ref didn't give it, then VAR would not intervene. And it would it would agree with the referee's on-field decision because the decision is subjective. I mean, I get it. There is subjective things in life, but I'm not sure if this penalty call is subjective or not. I think you should either be looking at this and you can either determine whether it's a penalty or not. I don't really understand what's subjective about it. I think it's strange to me. So the referee says that if Collum said that if the referee never gave this, then it wouldn't be a penalty. But because the referee gave it, it is a penalty. It sounds like they're making up the rules here and just VAR's just going to do whatever the referee wants, essentially. I thought the whole point was for VAR, though, to look at incidents, to referee the video evidence, and then they could correctly overrule the referee, whether he gives something and they don't give it, or whether he doesn't give something and they do give it. But basically what Willie Collum was saying here is, in circumstances like this, it's subjective, and that the referee essentially will just go with whatever he believes, because there's no, I guess, right or wrong answer. That's what Willie Collum said. Doesn't make sense to me. I personally didn't think it was a penalty. I thought that Gazzama, I mean, you can quite clearly see that Gazzama is the one that's holding the defender. He's pulling his shirt. Now, if that's the other way about, it's a penalty, isn't it? If Gazzama was getting his shirt pulled, then it would be a penalty. So therefore, if Gassama's pulling the defender's shirt, it should be a free kick. I thought that it made sense to me, but apparently not to the referee, VAR, and Willie Collum. But like I said, Collum did say it's subjective. So he said yes, VAR was right to give the penalty and keep the penalty. but he also said if the ref did not give the penalty, then VAR would not have intervened. That to me just makes no sense, but there's no point arguing about it. We'll just move on. Right, next up it was the penalty red card for Stanger on Moorhead. And this was on field, was given a no. VAR then said yes, they gave the penalty and red card. And then Willie Collum also said yes to the penalty and yes to the red card. I mean, there is a slight pull. I agree. I think it probably is by the letter of the law. I mean, there's not much in it, but by the letter of the law, it probably was a penalty and a red card. Definitely a penalty. Not too sure about the red card, but yeah, is what it is. And then finally, we've got the red card for Nicky Devlin against Falkirk. On-field decision said no. VAR said yes. Willie Collum said yes. I'm going to say no. I think this is ridiculous. Nicky Devlin goes in, wins the ball. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a bit of follow-through, and his studs kind of raked down the Falkirk player's leg. But at the end of the day, holy fuck, you can't really... sometimes you just can't control the follow-through. You don't know what's going to happen. And that is, I mean, that's every aspect of life. That's just physics, isn't it? At the end of the day, you can't. I mean, if you're going to red card people for every little bit of follow through, then we're getting to the point where you may as well just outlaw sliding tackles or whatever. Because I know this technically wasn't really a sliding tackle; he kind of just ran in and kicked the ball. But I mean, at this point, you can't really. That means you can't shoot in football because. I mean, let's say you take a shot in football and you're taking one from like 30 yards. You're having to, you're having to put some amount of power. You're having to put some strength behind that kick, that leg. You really don't know you can't determine the follow through your leg. So I mean, are we getting to the point now where we can't even have people take shots in case their leg falls through and they make contact with someone in front of them and it's going to be a red card? To me, that is ridiculous, man. Yeah, they're going to say, oh, but your studs caught him. It's fucking football. It's a physical sport. I mean, shit like this happens. So, yeah, I totally disagree. I don't think Nicky Devlin should have been sent off. I don't even think it was a foul. I would have played on. Ridiculous. Game's fucking dead. Had this happened like 25 years ago, no one would be even looking at it. Well, first of all, right, there was, even if there was fear, wouldn't be getting looked at this. The referee would have not even gave the incident a second glance. Nobody would be talking about it. They'd maybe be going, oh, look, he's dealt with the danger there. He's cleared that. But that would be it. This wouldn't even be a talking point if this happened. And people are going to say, yeah, well, the game's evolved. Has it evolved? Is it getting better? I'm not sure. Just a ridiculous call there. So I think Nicky Devlin can definitely feel aggrieved. But, for the majority of these ones, Willie Collum agreed with the VAR decision. I mean, the only two he didn't agree with were the first two that we talked about, the Hibs penalty. He thinks it should have been given and it wasn't. And the Rangers penalty against Alloa in the League Cup, he thinks it should not have been given, but it was. The rest of them he actually agreed with. So, there you go, guys. Let us know down below. What ones you agree with, what ones you think were wrong, what ones you think were right, and we'll catch you in the next one. Preview show coming soon, so looking forward to that. Scottish football is back, and hopefully we can get a good weekend of action. Partick Thistle won last night, so again, they're doing pretty well. Mark Wilson doing a good job there. I'd like to see him back on Super Scoreboard, but I think he's going to be in that Partick Thistle hot seat for a while, the way things are going. And who knows? I normally predict Partick Thistle to win the championship every season. I didn't do it this season, but maybe this will be their year because they're looking pretty good. But the squad's thin, and I think they need to sort that out. And if they can strengthen it, then who knows? Maybe they can put together a title challenge. But we'll see. Can Hearts put together a title challenge today? Can they beat Rangers? I bloody hope so. But that's it, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Willie Collum, I think he's right with a lot of these, but there's a couple that he got wrong in my opinion. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.